What was, until recently, one of the great urban legends in gaming was that Atari had made so many E.T. cartridges that they were buried in a desert in New Mexico. As some of you might know, very recently, an intrepid film crew went out and actually supposedly found these cartridges and dug them up, which was quite a find. My first question, I guess, is, Nolan, if you knew those were there in the desert and you just didn't tell anyone.
First of all, I had left 3 years before, so not on my watch. But the real story was that the guys that were running Atari after me didn't play games. They were suits. And as a result, they didn't have a feeling for what it took. And in those days, a good cartridge took at least 6 months to design, because it was really hard because of the memory constraints and all that. You had to keep track of a lot of stuff, and it was hard. But they thought that an E.T. game would be cool, so they did a licensing deal in late August, but the cartridge had to start shipping in middle October or early November. And
did this coincide with the movie, or was it after?
It was the movie was coming out, but it was really more for the holiday season. Mm-hmm. That was really what it was all about. And in 6 months, or in 6 weeks, to do a full cartridge game, it was impossible. I actually got an early copy, and because I had some friends, and they'd always steal stuff and give them to me. And I thought it was broken. I thought that the game that actually was shipped was a broken game. I thought that I'd gotten a bad copy. Not so true. It was so horrible. It was unplayable. And so they thought that the power of the license was all it was, because they weren't game players. They didn't care. They didn't know. And so all of a sudden they had this tsunami of returned cartridges. And so the best thing to do was to bury them in the desert and then pour concrete over the top.
There's no bodies in there, too, with the E.T. cartridge.
I think there actually should be, but there wasn't.
But taking this as the ultimate example of what you don't want to have happen to your game, although now they couldn't bury a mobile game in the desert so easily. But what are the mistakes you think that you see that people commonly make when they're creating games now?
The most common mistake that designers often to make is they're trying to make something similar to the sausage game before.
They're trying to make something similar to a successful game before?
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
They're ripping something off.
Yeah.
Which you're familiar with, because there were more rip-offs of your game than probably any other in the last decade.
But I think it's better for them is to make something different.